Share. Welcome to starting a spiritual business, creating a spiritual business. I'm so excited to share this with everyone. A little bit here. I am so excited and honored that you're here, and my goal is to provide a lot of value on this topic. And let me preface it by saying that my goal in teaching this is to help you maybe think bigger than you've been thinking about starting a spiritual business. Maybe you're thinking about making a small splash in the world, or maybe you want to make a big splash. But I come at this teaching with the intention of expanding your thinking, of having a healing business that can be your career, not necessarily just a part-time side thing that you do that demands even more of your time and attention, but something that could actually replace your job, allowing you to make a real living doing something, and of course, something that fulfills you. And since most of you know me from social media, I'm not going to spend any time introducing myself. But you can always learn more about me by visiting my website, and I'll be referencing it a number of times here. It's always in the bottom corner of my screen. It's WokeLightworker.com. And let's get right into it. But first, I would love if you could I keep hearing whispers that regarding something about stuff going on in the government level about TikTok, and it's clear they want to limit or eliminate access to TikTok. So before we get started, I want to give you all just a minute. If you could take out your phones and find me and follow me on Instagram, because I haven't heard any rumors about Instagram getting taken down, just TikTok. And I post the same material, but actually a lot more on Instagram that I even do on TikTok. So find me on Instagram, same name, Woke Lightworker. And also subscribe to me on YouTube under the same name, Woke Lightworker. And you guys can see teaching videos on my YouTube channel. I have actual hypnosis session recordings on my YouTube channel, and also class announcements. And if any of you want to watch any more sessions, I have a lot of really awesome past life only sessions and a lot of full sessions on my Patreon channel, same name, Woke Lightworker. And that's a small subscription fee to be out there to support my work, to support the channel. But there are some really, really cool past life stories that I have out there. For the lower level, I think it's like $8 a month. A lot of cool past life stories, including the one I did today, where she got to live on Pluto. So get to learn a little bit about Pluto. And she was married to a reptilian. How cool is that, right? That one's going to be going on my Patreon channel, A Past Life Story. And then I have, of course, full sessions. All my recent work goes on my Patreon channel. So if you guys take out your phone, follow me again because of the rumors I'm hearing about TikTok. Who knows if it'll turn into anything. But you can always find me on Instagram under Woke Lightworker, and then subscribe on YouTube. And I'm on Pinterest and Patreon. So I want to dig into this because my goal is to teach for approximately an hour. Like I said, we might go over because I have so much I want to cover. And if we do, it just means we might not have much time for question and answer, or we can go over because, I love to talk and share this stuff. But let's do this. Next screen, let's be present right now. So first thing I'm going to ask, you're going to probably want to have a pen and paper out for this one because I'm going to go through a lot of stuff. And if you guys want to take some notes, that would be great. Have a pen and paper handy. And then the thing I like about writing things down is when we hear things and then again, we repeat them in our mind when we write them down. So you kind of get to hear everything twice when you take notes on it. But first, if you know me from coming to any of my classes, I like to start with something I call higher self breaths. So that's just to bring us into the now moment and to connect us right here. And to get everyone into the same mental space together. So go ahead and put your feet flat on the ground unless you're lying down, and close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in, filling your lungs with the energy and the essence of your higher self, whatever that looks and feels like to you. Filling your lungs with that, and then watch it in your mind. Watch that breath travel up to the center of your head. Hold it there for just a moment, feeling it there, and then exhaling and watching that breath push every other thought out the top of your head. So you're actually breathing out the top of your head, it feels like. Pushing every thought, every care, every concern, every distraction, worry out the top of your head. And then just feel that higher self breath just flow down around you. So do that again. Take a nice deep breath in, filling your lungs with the essence of your higher self, watching that breath travel up to the center of your head. Hold it there for just a second. And again, exhaling and letting everything else flood out the top of your head. And then that essence or that energy of your higher self surrounding your body like a geyser. So one more time, take a deep breath in to your lungs, breathing in the essence of your higher self. Watch that breath travel up to the center of your head. Hold it there for just a second. And exhale out everything else. I love to get us grounded and present and here for the moment. Okay, let's jump right into it. Why not? Having your own business has many perks. So I know it's natural for light workers to want to share their experiences and their knowledge with others. And if you're called to be a healer, there's a good chance that it's part of your blueprint or your purpose for this lifetime. And to clarify up front, when I'm talking about healing, I'm talking about physical, mental, and emotional healing. Maybe you want to just focus on one or the other or all three, but I'm referring to all of them kind of lumped together. And that does include if you want to, like a psychic business or a numerology business or a life design business, something to help people mentally, emotionally, and physically with their healing. And having your own business is a dream for many people because it allows you to a number of things, to be your own boss, to set your own schedule, to determine your income level to a large extent, allows you to use your creative genius to make that business whatever you want it to be. And you get to set the tone and the pace and decide how big you want your business to be. You have the freedom to work solo and or expand to the point where you can actually hire others and be a boss. So you get to create and live by your own rules. You get to be the captain of your own ship. I mean, how fun is that? It's very appealing for many people. And while it can be very glamorous to think about, it does require work and thought to prepare yourself. And that's what I want to share with you guys this evening, specifically focusing on starting a spiritual healing business. So, but what does it mean to be a healer? To be a healer, like it says on my screen, means carrying the energetic frequency of the solution in your energy field and then offering that to someone else. So there's two schools of thought. There's one school of thought that says all healing is self-healing. And then there's others who teach that you can literally give healing to someone with some stipulations, I guess. There has to be some things that fall into place. The other person has to believe, obviously, and they have to not have anything blocking the healing from taking place in their body. So it doesn't really matter which school you subscribe to. Probably a little bit of both in all of them. I see both, but you're not the one doing the healing, right? Necessarily. Everyone primarily heals themselves. And I say that because, again, you can't force healing on anyone. You can only offer it to them, and they have the opportunity, if they choose so, to receive it. You can extend your energy to the other person and join your faith with theirs. But if the other person is not interested in healing, doesn't believe in it, or it's not part of their soul path for them at the moment, we can't force healing onto them. You can't make them become healed, obviously. That won't work. So being a healer means that you're offering the other person a safe space wherein they can tap into and trust in their own inner knowing. So you, as a healer, you're a carrier of love and light. And you allow the other person to reach the core of their own love and light. So you act basically as a mirror to them. You've likely heard the terms light worker or light bringer. And in my opinion, these terms can be used synonymously with healer. And as a healer or a light worker, your enlightened energy opens the door for someone else to remember what they already know, to connect to their inner light, to connect to their intuition. You're just creating the space. That's what we do. And the loving open space that you create with your frequency is what opens the door for healing to happen. So, our only job as healers is to be in touch with that divine inner flow. It's this connection that moves people and lifts them into a higher, freer state of awareness. If they choose it. If they do, it will occur in a rhythm and a flow that is all their own. And how do you keep in touch with your divine inner flow? I'm going to tell you right now. By living in the energy of love. By seeing everyone through the eyes of love. So put on those rose-colored glasses, drop the judgments and competition of the ego, and approach your clients with unconditional love and acceptance, no matter what is currently going on in their lives, no matter how they are choosing to live. Be the safe space that you would want to have in your darkest hour. I love that. Be the safe space that you would want to have in your darkest hour. Now let's talk about what kind of healing business you should start. So many of you already know what your gifts, talents, and passions are, but there are some watching this now who don't have a clue. They just know, I want to help others. So if the second one is you, let me talk directly to you for just a moment. And one of my favorite spiritual teachers, his name is Bentinho Massaro. That's Massaro for anyone who's interested. He always says this, follow the breadcrumb trail of excitement. So if you don't know what your purpose is yet, or exactly what it looks like for you to help others, just start with something that excites you and learn all you can about it. Become fluent and proficient at it. Practice, practice, practice. Read about it, dream about it, learn other things similar to it. Think about how you may combine. You learn something new. Think about how you might combine those two modalities. Make them a new one. Make them your own. Meditate on them. Ask your spirit team to show you new ideas and to help you become a master in those things. Then repeat. Maybe you add another modality and you combine those three. Takes you in a different direction. Learn other modalities, other methods, whatever catches your attention, whatever brings you joy or feels like it would be fun to learn. So that's what is meant by following the breadcrumb trail of excitement. And when you follow the breadcrumb trail of excitement, you're not wasting your time. You're not wasting your energy and you're not wasting your money. Everything you learn when you follow the breadcrumb trail is going to come together in a beautiful way to create a masterpiece if you just trust and enjoy the process. I'm going to share you a little bit about my story. For me, I started out learning Reiki, then went on to become a Reiki master healer teacher. I had a blast teaching Reiki to children. Oh my gosh, it would bring tears to my eyes watching these children laying hands on each other with their eyes closed, and you could just feel and see the focus and the intention they would put for healing into the other person. It was so precious. And all the while I was taking up all kinds of courses and attending tons and tons of spiritual meetup groups that I found in my area on meetup.com. So I learned about different angel healing modalities. I learned something called access consciousness bars. That wasn't for me, but some people love it. I learned animal Reiki. I took a number of theta healing classes, courses on manifesting, meditation, courses on healing with crystals, courses on healing in conjunction with different ET races, QHHT levels 1 and 2, and on and on and on. So many courses and certifications that I honestly don't remember them all. And the reason I did all of this is because I did whatever sparked joy for me at the time. And then at the same time, I also read like a crazy woman. I read and read and read, and then I meditated. And I'd be jumping up and down and screaming each time I came out of my meditation closet. And it was an actual closet I would use for meditation or come out of my meditative bath, thinking that, oh my gosh, my meditations could not become more amazing or powerful, yet each time they did, and it would blow me away. I started talking to my guides, knowing they were there, even though at first I couldn't hear them. But then eventually, with persistence and setting my intention, I started to hear them loud and clear. And so now it feels like my life is literally one continuous walking meditation where I'm constantly connected, talking to Creator, talking to my guides, my higher self. And I was so excited about everything I was learning. I would share pieces of it with my children, who, even though they acted only slightly interested, I didn't care. I just needed to share my excitement with someone. So share away I did. And apparently they were really listening because they're all awake spiritually and on a spiritual journey themselves. And it's a tie that connects us and it has made us incredibly close. My 16-year-old daughter doesn't have human friends for real. She left school about 5 months ago, and now our backyard is her classroom. And she spends hours talking to trees and plants and insects and the deer and cats and fox that live in the woods behind our house, and hearing from and communing with Creator every waking moment of her day. She walks around picking up trash all over the neighborhoods because she loves Mother Earth so much. I used to drag her around a lot to my classes and spiritual meetups. And when she was 10 and 11, for 2 years in a row, we went to LA and attended the Conscious Life Expo. And her huge breakthrough came when I had her learn theta healing just before she left school once and for all. And it completely changed her life and her relationship with Creator and her world in general. And I'll talk to you guys about theta healing in just a little bit so you can understand exactly what I'm talking about when I say theta healing. But it completely changed her life and mine and the lives of everyone that it touches. But when I was taking these courses, reading all these books, meditating for hours, seeking a connection with my spirit team, I didn't do it with a purpose in mind. Like, oh, I have to find my spiritual business, or I have to figure out what my purpose is. I did it because I just kept following the breadcrumb trail of excitement and doing whatever brought me joy. And as the benevolent universe that we live in does, following the path of my highest joy led me to pure joy and bliss by showing me something I could do as a career that was joyful and that I could earn a living with. So I have the same advice for you. Follow your joy until and unless that particular thing no longer brings you joy. Then follow the next thing that sparks joy in you. So I ended up not doing Reiki anymore because it wasn't my highest joy anymore. I started learning other things and moving on to other modalities that brought me much more joy. And since there's only so much time in a day, I can't possibly do everything, but it doesn't mean I don't still love it and think it's incredible and amazing. But I just kept following that breadcrumb trail of excitement. And if doing what I do, past life regression, life in between lives regression, and higher self hypnosis, where you get to lead clients to channel their higher selves, to ask their higher selves every question they have about their lives, and to get incredible healing physically, emotionally, and mentally, and understand why things have happened in their lives the way they did, to get direction for their lives, you may want to investigate my mentoring program. It's absolutely part of my purpose. And it brings me immense joy helping my clients find answers that I truly don't know how they could learn any other way. It's amazing to be able to sit under the wisdom and learning of people's higher selves every single day. So next screen, if you want more information on my mentoring program to learn how to do what I do, business side of things in detail, and the actual hypnosis side of things, there is my website. You go on WokeLightworker.com, click on courses at the top. You can see highlighted there, and then it's called Hypnosis Mentoring Program. So now let's talk business, healing business, that is. There are two sides to a healing business. So having a healing business is just that. It's a business. And since it is a business, if you don't treat it like one, it likely won't be around very long, let alone something that can support you financially or enable you to practice it as your primary occupation. So while you have the side of your business that is love and light and being service to others, you also have the business side. And I'll tell you now, if you don't manage either side, both sides diligently, both sides will suffer or even fail. And I found that many people don't think about this, particularly when they are the client coming to you, or maybe you've gone to a healer before. You don't think about the massive amount of work on the business side, that you just go for the healing part of it. And the client comes at it from their perspective. They want healing, they want change, they want relief from whatever issue it is that they're facing. And they see the love and the light and the healing side of your public face. And they're not necessarily aware of the fact that it's also a business that they're engaging with. So let me use an example to explain more. So disregarding the obvious conversation of whether or not you would qualify McDonald's as real food, let's look at McDonald's, and for the sake of this example, let's call items on their menu food, okay? So we go there to buy food, something to fill our belly, to satisfy a physical need that we have, right? We look at the menu board, we decide, yes, that will meet my need and fill me, and you order that. But behind the order is a big business. We see a little bit of that because we stand in front of the cash register and pay our money, but we don't see the massive amount of paperwork, systems, labor involved to get that burger on that tray for you to eat. So if you think about it, I'm sure you can imagine it now that I'm bringing it to your awareness, right? There's ordering the food from companies, the companies ship it, there's truck drivers involved, there's employees who unload the food, organize it, put it in the refrigerators, employees who prepare the food, the ones who ring you up at the cash register, there's managers, assistant managers. Then there's the regional and corporate offices and managers who do higher level things like setting the menus, negotiating prices, repairing and upgrading computer systems, ordering new computer systems, and on and on. I think you get the picture, right? So while the consumer only sees and experiences the customer facing part of the business, you can see from the example I just gave you with McDonald's that there is way more going on in the background that the consumer is not aware of or ever even thinks about. And it all takes time, energy, and money in order to get them their meal. And even though your healing business is likely not going to be on the same scale as McDonald's, it's still a business that requires numerous business processes and systems needed in order to provide service to your customers. And while I'm not going to be able to get into specific systems, I recommend for bookkeeping, calendars, websites, and the like, that information is something I teach in great detail to students in my mentoring program. I will say that you want to always keep in mind that there are two sides to the business. And remember that if you do not run the business side as a business, it won't be a business. So just like everything in life, you have to have balance if you want it to be something that can sustain you and get you out of having to work a job in the 3D matrix, if that's your goal. So any job that you've ever had or may currently have, it can't pay its employees too much money or give away its products and services for little to nothing and still survive, obviously. It'd go belly up, and that'd be an awful business plan. So what I'm really trying to drive home is that a healing business is no different. You'll want to have an honest conversation with yourself and see if you hold any programs that healers should not charge for their services, or that they should only accept sporadic donations or charge a pittance for their services they provide, because until you release your beliefs around that, you're going to attract clients who also hold these same beliefs. And if that's what you want to create, then create it. But own it. Own the fact that that's what you're creating. But if you want to create a healing business that's both fulfilling and financially rewarding, it starts with your mindset. It starts with your beliefs. This is your business. No one decides the direction or the intensity of it but you. So when you have a business and it's not profitable or fulfilling, the finger needs to be pointed back at yourself. So a great question to ask your spirit team is, I'm going to put this up on the screen. What is it in me that needs to be healed or changed in order for my business to blank? what? Be more fulfilling, attract more clients who are ready, willing, and able to pay my prices, be successful, expand, whatever it is. Then seek inside, because both the problem and the solution are within you. So you, my friend, are both the giver and the receiver of your circumstances. That's a really good affirmation if you guys want to write that one down. I am both the giver and the receiver of my circumstances. And that's every circumstance in your life, right? You create your reality and then you get to experience it and see how much you enjoy it or don't enjoy what you have created. And then you get to make tweaks from there. So the rudder steering the ship is your mind, your thoughts, and your beliefs will steer your business accordingly. Okay, next screen. This brings me to my next point. Your time and your energy are the two most valuable resources that you have. And both your time and your energy are non-renewable. On this earth plane, looking at things very simply and linearly, once your time and your energy have been expended on someone or something, you can't get that back. It's been expended or it's been used. So think about that for a second. Really think about that. You've likely heard the saying that time is money. And this is true because just like money, once it's spent on someone or something, it's gone. But unlike money, where you can go make more to replace that original amount, you can't make more time. Not in the way we're looking at life on earth and for this example, okay? Of course, you can get into other more abstract areas and talk about, well, you can put it on a repeating loop or whatever you want, but we're not talking about that right now. So in our society at this point, we don't normally barter or get paid in chickens or pigs. We use money as an exchange of energy. We give something valuable to our client. Then the client gives us something of equal value in return. If this does not happen, this is important. If this does not happen, there is imbalance. And I'll tell you from listening to people's higher selves all day, every day, if there is one thing the universe is not about, it's imbalance. All we have to do is look at one of the biggest ways things are balanced to know the truth of this statement. That's with karma, right? Karma is not getting even with someone or something, revenge or being punished. Karma is just a balancing of energies and experiences. So I've seen more than one life where someone cheated on someone in one life only to be cheated on in the next life by that very same person. It's our souls wanting to experience balance. Nature is balance. Our body systems need balance. We're told to eat a balanced diet, right? Money is a symbol of energy, movement, and a measurement of value on this earth plane. So the client acknowledges the value of your work in their life and they pay you. Again, with something that represents value to them, which is money. So this allows the cycle of giving and receiving to be completed. You gave to them, now they give back to you. This cycle is complete and it's in balance. In balance. Make sure I got that clear. So when people live their lives in taking mode, where they're taking much more than they give, there is an imbalance. And I will tell you from seeing what I see sitting in this chair, doing my sessions, it will not remain imbalanced. It may not be balanced in this lifetime, but they will then want to experience the opposite, or being the one giving and having others take from them in this life later on or a future life to be able to experience the opposite and thereby bring balance to their soul. So in other words, and these exact words came up in my client session today. These words right here. Short-term gains can have long-term consequences. So if there's one thing I've learned in this journey is that you cannot cheat the universe. It's impossible. Any person who believes it is possible is experiencing a temporary case of insanity. The law of cause and effect, which is under the law of karma and the law of balance, will see to it that it does not stay that way. So when you align with the essence of your value and your worthiness, you will align with money. Money is not evil. It's not evil to charge for giving your most valuable assets, your time and your energy, right? If you don't feel worthy, or you have some past oath, vow, commitment, or obligation that can affect your current belief around money, that could be a possibility. So I've seen cases where it's actually really common for people who go into a healing profession in this lifetime to have a belief that it's not okay, or even that it's not safe to be a healer because of experiences that they've had in other lives. Or maybe they took an oath of poverty or a vow of poverty. I've had those come up in sessions, in my higher self hypnosis sessions. We've had to have the higher self pull those because higher self always says, yes, that does not serve them in this lifetime. But yet we carry these things. We can carry them on a soul level, and they continue to impact us life after life. So I started talking a little bit about laws. So let me say, you may or may not be aware of universal laws, but regardless, if you know about them or not, they are still affecting you and your business. So let's look at a few of these laws and how they affect your life and your business. And there's a man I learned about named Bob Burg, B-U-R-G, who has written a few books about some of these laws, and you can find him on the website called thegogiver.com. And he discusses 5 laws. Let me put the first one on the screen. The first law that Bob Burg talks about is called the law of value. The law of value states that let me start over. The law of value states that you want to give more value than the money you receive. Right? Let me say that again. You want to give more value than the money that you receive. And again, it has nothing to do with not receiving money. It has to do with your clients walking out of a session with them feeling incredibly happy with the service that they got from you, feeling like they received tremendous value for the money they spent, and happy that they spent the money with you because you gave them so much value. They were excited to give you their money. Okay, that's the first law that Bob Burg talks about. I love the second one. He talks about the law of compensation. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and by how well you serve them. So let me repeat that. The law of compensation says your income is determined by how many people you serve and by how well you serve them. It says that your income is determined by how many people and how well you serve them, and it needs to follow the law of value in order for you to experience abundance in your business. So what I mean by that is you will give that exceptional value that was just discussed to many people, right? Not just one, many people, thereby experiencing financial provision and abundance. It makes sense because if you provide great value to only one person, you're not going to achieve financial abundance. But if you provide great value to many people who are excited about what they received from you, they could potentially be repeat customers and also refer others to you. And when that happens, you have successfully created raving fans. And if raving fans are something you're interested in creating for your business, I'd recommend actually reading the book by that very name called Raving Fans, How to Create Raving Fans. So that's the law of compensation. Let's look next. Oh, sorry, a little bit more. Your compensation is directly proportional to how many lives you touch. So I like how Bob Burg stated it. He said it just like that. Your compensation is directly proportional to how many lives you touch, right? So next one, law number 3 that he states is called the law of influence. The law of influence states that your level of abundance correlates to the degree to which you place others' interests above your own. So again, it's placing others' interests above your own, okay? Not robbing from Peter to pay Paul. That's not what I mean. But it means you make it about them 100%. By you placing your client's interests above your own, by making the healing session all about them and what is best for them, this is yet another way to create raving fans. So let's say you're a Reiki healer and a client has 10 Reiki healers to choose from in your town. Why would that person come to you if they don't know you? Say they know none of these Reiki healers. Why would they come to you? So when all things are equal, someone will choose you because your energy speaks to their energy and they feel like they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And that's something I learned having been a realtor for 15 years too, also, is that people work with you because they know you, like you, and trust you. So when you advertise your services in any way, especially on social media, the law of influence is front and center at work with the public. So you want to examine your social media posts and see how you are placing others' problems, issues, and desires above your own. Because when you do, you will have the law of influence on your side, adding to your business. Hope that makes sense. Let's go to law number 4 that Bob Berg talked about. The law of authenticity says that the most valuable gift you have to offer your clients is yourself. I'll repeat that. The law of authenticity says the most valuable gift you have to offer your clients is yourself. When you work with this law, when you consistently show up as your authentic self. So you add incredible value to the world and to your clients when you show up as your true self. So while we learn from others and we might adopt some of their characteristics or some of their teaching, we don't want to become someone other than who we are at our core. So if you don't know who you are at your core, this indicates a need to do healing work and belief work on yourself to uncover the layers of beliefs and traumas you might have piled up on top of your inner light, your authentic self. Okay? So it's just about authenticity. And the last one he talks about, I believe that's the last one, yeah, is the law of receptivity. The law of receptivity states that you need to both give and receive. So receiving can be difficult for many because, like I said earlier, many hold onto a belief on an ancestral level. How many have heard this? It's more blessed to give than it is to receive. But that is a program. That's a belief. It's not in alignment at all with the law of balance. There has to be both giving and receiving in order to have balance in our lives and in our business. So if you're a healer who thinks it's wrong to receive compensation for helping transform someone's life and assist them in healing trauma or creating healing for themselves, it indicates that there are beliefs that you are holding, possibly on an ancestral level or even a past life level, that state that it's wrong to be paid for your gifts. But it also means that you will be living in imbalance and also creating imbalance for others. So looking at it, it is incredibly selfish to not receive some form of compensation for your services. And while you think it's giving and it's noble and you're morally superior to those who charge for their healing services, it's actually incredibly selfish because you are disallowing the other person to have balance in their interaction with you. So you are leaving them imbalanced. You're forcing them to be a receiver and you're not allowing them to be a giver and be in balance. And if anything I just said triggers you or grates on you on the inside, then here is the question I invite you to ask yourself on the screen. What is it in me that needs to be healed in order for me to not be triggered by what Tracy just said? That it's selfish of me not to charge my clients or whatever it is that triggers you. Actually, I use this question all the time in my life. I tell my clients, this as your favorite question. Make this your favorite one. What is it in me that needs to be healed in order for me to not be triggered by X? Someone pulling out in the parking lot in front of me, whatever it might be. I have a 6-hour class available on demand on my website, WokeLightworker.com, called Connecting to Your Higher Self. And in that class, I teach that triggers are indicators that something in us is unhealed and needs attention. So something in us is out of alignment. with the truth. And when I say truth, I'm talking about truth with a capital T. Truth from Creator, not your truth, my truth, his truth, her truth. Okay, so moving on. Now I want to talk about a topic that is easy for some, but much more difficult for others. And that is the level at which you are vested in anyone else's journey, in particular, your client's journey. And this too came up in my hypnosis session today with my client. To be of the most benefit to your client and yourself, you are going to want to have a level of non-attachment where you release your personal desire to change or cure others. Such a desire does not stem from a true understanding of the inner road that people want to travel to find their own truth. Let me repeat that. A desire to induce change or cure others or force change or cures on others does not stem from a true understanding of the inner road that people want to travel to find their own truth. Right? We live in a planet of duality, right and wrong, good and bad, positive, negative. The reason our souls love to come to planet Earth is because duality is a very masterful teacher. Duality helps us learn balance, and it helps us learn all of our lessons. I say quick, fast, and in a hurry. So most people need to go to the bottom of certain issues before they are truly ready to release them. Our job is to not struggle to keep people from hitting the bottom. That's not our job. It's not our job with our family. It's not our job with our friends. It's not our job with our clients. If they are determined to go to the bottom, they will go there in spite of all you do and say. And as a healer, you are a way shower. You're not the cure. You're not the enforcer. So I'll share a quick story with you guys. So my first marriage, I was married to a narcissist. Lots of reasons for that. It was a lot of balancing karma and things like that. And he just happened to be the instrument that was used to do it. But he was so incredibly abusive. Ugh, if you guys know anything about narcissists, please. And people would tell me to leave. He's awful. I knew he was awful. The good times were really good, but the bad times were really bad. But nothing anyone could say to me was going to make me leave. It just wasn't. No one was going to pull me out of that. I was living with a belief. So my belief was it's better for me to stay with him so my children did not grow up in a broken home with an absentee father like I did, feeling rejected and abandoned. And this was the lesser of the two evils, staying with him. So that was my lesson to learn, that was a wrong belief, not wrong as in wrong, but that belief was not a pleasant one to experience, right? But I had to learn that myself. No one could tell me. So when I see women with narcissistic men or people in unhealthy relationships, we just create the space of love. I just create the space of love and let them come to their own decisions. It's their journey. My spirit team taught me something. I guess it was about a year and a half ago now. And it's the initials NM and then J at the end. NMJ, it's not my journey. And if it's not my journey, it's NMB. It's not my business, right? It's not my business what actions they take, how quickly they get out of that situation. It's better to not be emotionally involved with people you help to that degree. Emotional involvement invites in the desire for you to cure or transform them. And your personal desires do not help them. And your personal desires do not help them on their journey. Right? It's not your journey, it's theirs. So to protect our health, our energy, and our well-being as healers, we need to not have a personal will for another person's life. It is their life, after all. So whenever you want people to change, you're not in a space of love. You're not in a place of allowance. And clients, they can sense this. This is judgment. You putting your will and desire and wishes for anyone else's life is you judging them, and they can sense this. It's you putting out the energy that you know better than them what's best for their journey, when in fact you don't know better. Their spirit team has got them. I tell my clients this. Their spirit team has got them. Their team knows what they're doing. Life is not a race. There's no finish line. There's no destination. It's a journey. And our souls don't care if it takes us 8 lives to learn one lesson, or we can learn it in one life. Our soul just wants the lesson, and taking the scenic back country roads to get there, or taking the shortcut to get there, makes no difference to our soul. So we need to live in the energy of acceptance and allowance, accepting everyone. This is key. I love this. Accepting everyone and everything exactly as it is, without the need for it to be anything different. Because if there was a need for it to be different, then it would be different, right? If the universe decided there was a need for that person to be different, or that situation to be different, the universe would arrange that. But since it's not different, there is no need. The fact that the other person is not different means their life, their circumstance, their situation is perfect for exactly what it is they are meant to learn at that moment, or they wouldn't be in that situation or having that experience. So needing people or situations to be different, that's our ego mind speaking. It's not our higher self, and it is certainly not creator, and it is not love. So if you find yourself unable to approach every client with love and total and complete acceptance for where they're at, again, leaving space for them to decide if they want to choose differently, that is an indication that there is healing work and belief work to be done on your end. Okay? I know that was kind of a long lecture. Poof. Okay, now we're done with that. Let's talk about something different. 3 primary causes of failure in a business. Zoe gave me a heart. Thank you. Somebody needed to hear that, or I wouldn't have gone on so long about that. 3 primary causes of failure: fear, expectations, and emotions. Let's talk about the first one. Let's talk about fear. Oh, the big bad boogeyman, fear. First, a really common one that many are familiar with, having either a fear of success or a fear of failure. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? But if love were to have an opposing force, it would be fear. I'm going to say this twice, guys, because this is kind of deep. If love were to have an opposing force, it would be fear. But since fear is an illusion that exists on this planet for the sake of duality, so that it can be experienced and act as a teacher for us, fear cannot be the opposite of love, because love is real. Love is not an illusion like fear. Let me say that again. If love were to have an opposing force, it would be fear. But since fear is an illusion that just exists on this planet for the sake of duality, so it can be experienced and act as a teacher for us, or a motivator for us, fear cannot be the opposite of love, because love is real. Love is not an illusion like fear. So if you have a fear of success or a fear of failure, here is yet another belief crying to be investigated and healed. Pulled up by the root, and the root may very well not be something originating in this current life. It may be something existing in your DNA from your ancestors or from a past life or trauma. Fear needs to be seen for what it really is. It is an illusion. And we would do well to remind ourselves that fear is just that. It's an illusion. We are powerful, powerful gods and goddesses, with the breath of creator in our lungs and coursing through our veins. And for those of you with a Christian background, you are most assuredly familiar with this Bible passage that says, "Greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world." So most fears that we have are learned from other people. And since they were learned from other people, now that we're all big boys and girls, we get the task of unlearning them and figuring out how to do that if we no longer wish them to create our reality. Okay, so that's what I'm going to have to say about fears. Let's talk about the next one, expectation. A second thing that can cause failure in your spiritual healing business is having expectation. So what is an expectation? An expectation is a strong thought that restricts all other possibilities. Let me say that again. An expectation is a strong thought that restricts all other possibilities. So sometimes when I'm doing my higher self hypnosis sessions, I tell my clients not to have any expectations when they come to the session, but many of them do. And when they go quote unquote under, which is literally the same thing as a meditation that's being guided by me, they think they had an expectation that it should look or feel different and they should be knocked out or not conscious or, not, their conscious mind is not there. Their awareness has taken a nap. And when it doesn't happen like that, they can sometimes shut themselves completely down and have a really difficult or impossible time going forward in their session because they had an expectation or a strong thought that restricted all other possibilities. So if it doesn't look like the way they think it should, then they've kind of put a block there. So when we have an expectation about how healing should look or how our intuition should guide us, then we're doing the same thing. We're closing ourselves off to all other possibilities. And that can completely lead us to overlooking accurate information, and you could miss something. So the best approach for us with each client and each healing session is to come without expectations, to be open to spirit, open to whatever happens in the session, even if it means the client walking out thinking, looking, and acting the same way they did when the session began, right? Remember this, healing is for them in whatever way is best for them. And sometimes it may not be in the client's best and highest good to get their way, maybe have their blood pressure instantly regulated or their thyroid fully functioning that second. Maybe their soul knows that if they get instant healing, they will have zero motivation to heal the underlying root cause because they'll leave the session with you and distract themselves with life even harder now that they're physically healed. So that is why I say have zero expectations when working as a healer. Creator does the healing with that person, not you. It is no reflection on whether or not they got exactly what their conscious mind wants. It's no reflection on you at all. And it will benefit you if you can truly understand that it's not about you. If you are competent in your profession, you know what you're doing, you give your client unconditional love, value the space for them to receive healing, then you have done your job. You cannot, again, force healing on anyone. And this circles back around again to not being connected, not being attached to the result of the session with your clients and their journey, whatever their journey looks like. Okay? I will preface that by saying that all healing is instant healing. When you go to Creator and you ask for healing, that healing is instant. Whether the client receives it instantly is a whole other thing, right? There could be a lot of different forces in effect. Too many to get into in this session, but that's why we're not attached to it. We know in us that all healing is instant healing, and it's there and available for the client, and it's there for them to take whenever it is in their best and highest good. Okay, next screen. Emotions. I want to talk about how emotions can contribute to failure. Emotions are created from thoughts and beliefs. So what is a belief? Look on the screen here. A belief is something we think about frequently, and we have an emotional response to it. Emotions take energy and clarity away from our intuition. Let me say that again. Emotions take energy and clarity away from our intuition. Emotions impede our ability to hear clearly from our inner voice, from our inner guidance, and from our spirit teams. I mean, you see people when they get emotional, they're just like, and they're all upset, and you're like, oh, I'm just not even thinking clearly. I'm so upset, right? When you trust your intuition, you're trusting spirit, and you're trusting your own soul. Emotions, because our emotions are created from our thoughts and our beliefs, and unless you've done a tremendous amount of digging work on yourself and healed and healed and healed beliefs you hold, your emotions can tend to take over and drive you and drive your business. So on top of that, your beliefs and thoughts will also create the type of relationship you have with your clients. It's going to determine how you service your clients and how you show up for your clients. So in other words, not only do your thoughts and beliefs affect your personal life, they will affect your business life, and your business relationships. Okay? So it's doing that work on our emotions, on our thoughts, on our beliefs, clearing, so we can be a clearer vessel when we do our healing business, right? And that leads me into my next point. As a healer, this is my opinion, guys, from my personal experience. As a healer, your number one priority should be doing self-healing work, digging out beliefs you have from this life, from other lives, beliefs held on a soul level, and also beliefs you're carrying on your DNA from your ancestors that you don't even know about. The reason? Again, emotions and beliefs cloud our intuition. And as healers, we want to get to a place where we develop crystal clear vision with our spirit teams, with Creator, and with our inner wisdom and guidance. I will tell you guys that before I started being able to hear like nonstop from my spirit team, from my higher self, from my spirit guides, as soon as I was able to start hearing consistently, I meant to say, I remember exactly where I was. I was walking my dog downtown where I live. And I said to my team, I'm like, gosh, what was that? Like I had been asking for so long to be able to hear like this, to commune like this, to talk like this all the time with my spirit team. What was blocking that? Like why couldn't I? And instantly my team showed me this dark black curtain inside my mind, almost like my brain was split in two, right? You have the physical side of your brain and the spiritual side, right? And I saw this dark black curtain and I heard these words. It's just a thin veil between the two realms, the physical realm and the spiritual realm. It's a very thin veil, but yours was black. So you couldn't see through it. You couldn't hear through it, couldn't see through it. It was black from all of the trauma and the unhealed grief and judgments and criticisms and pain and everything that I had been using to cover up my light, my inner light, my intuition, my God self, my authentic self, right? That curtain was black. I couldn't hear, I couldn't see. So I loved that visual that I got. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I'm so glad I did all that healing work. Not that you're probably ever going to be totally all the way there. There's always going to be stuff that's going to come up, new stuff, old stuff. But the heavy lifting has been done. And when the heavy lifting was done, that's when that curtain wasn't so black anymore. Kind of faded to be a little more see-through. So if you're looking for the best method for digging out beliefs by the root, and I'm talking again, beliefs you might hold from past lives, beliefs you hold from on a soul level, beliefs you hold in your DNA from your ancestors, beliefs from this life, I'll tell you what the best method I have ever come across is. on my screen. It's called theta healing, a modality called theta healing. It was developed by a woman, channeled by a woman named Diana Stiebel. So in theta healing, you learn to work directly with Creator to facilitate healings and learn and do extensive practice in class and uncovering and digging out beliefs you hold on all 4 of those levels that I just mentioned. And I tell my higher self hypnosis clients all the time that if you like shortcuts, if you like drive-through breakthroughs, there's 2 ways I know how to do that. And I remember I've taken a lot of different trainings and classes, not everything, but these are the 2 quickest ways I know of. One is channeling your higher self, like what happens in my higher self hypnosis sessions, where you can literally get like 2 years worth of therapy in a 1-day session. And the second way is by learning and then doing theta healing on yourself. It's truly a skill that you will learn and use for the rest of your life. So I want to share a really quick excerpt from you guys from a really recent higher self hypnosis session I had a couple of weeks ago. And this particular woman has been using theta healing to work on her beliefs for the last 20 years. And actually, if you want to watch her full higher self hypnosis session, it's actually out on my Patreon channel. Again, you can go to patreon.com/WokeLightworker. So I asked my client's higher self, I said, so what is it in her that needs to be healed in order for her to not be affected by what other people think about her? So her higher self said, that is a big lesson for her in this life. Her mother was always overly concerned about how she appears to others. And your client picked up some of this genetically and through generational beliefs, but also through grooming to be overly concerned about others' judgments and opinions of herself. And this is what her higher self said. And she needs to do belief work around this in theta healing. She has done some, but there is more left to complete before she can really step into her mission. And then a little later in her session, theta healing came up again. I said, you said she has some purging to do. Tell us about that. So her higher self said, some of the programs she needs to eliminate through theta healing hold dark energy in her, and she needs to get rid of that so her vibration can rise. The dark energy distorts her view of herself and how she portrays herself and how she shows up in the world. So by purging the dark energy through belief work, she can be a truer version of herself. And I truly don't want this to sound like a commercial for theta healing courses that I teach. I share it to tell you in the context of the topic of being the best healer that you can, what you can do to eradicate hundreds and hundreds of beliefs that we all hold that are currently keeping us from realizing and living our true God potential. And I love how her higher self set up here that some of the programs she needs to eliminate through theta healing hold dark energy, and she needs to get rid of that so her vibration can rise. That is exactly what my spirit team showed me with that vision, right? The programs I was having, the beliefs I was having held dark energy in them, right? And it was affecting how I was showing up in the world. And again, if my saying that you are God triggers you or rubs your insides like sandpaper, there's one of the first beliefs you can dig on. So let me give you an example of something you might learn about yourself using theta healing. So let's say you muscle test yourself, whether it's individually or with a partner, you muscle test yourself and you discover that you have a belief of, I hate God. Your conscious mind might say, oh my gosh, never. No way do I hate God. Yet you muscle tested positive for it in class or when you were working on your own. Your conscious mind never would have thought to muscle test or dig on you for such a belief because your conscious mind cannot even fathom that you would even hold this belief. However, in a theta healing working session, you might discover that in a past life or in a higher self hypnosis session too, same thing, but you might discover that in a past life, all 5 of your children died from the Spanish flu, leaving you devastated, cursing God in anger and grief, and you died without resolving that. And that is an actual scenario that did come up in one of my higher self hypnosis sessions, by the way. She was completely unaware that she had the belief that she hated God because it was from a past life. And walking around in your daily life, you won't uncover beliefs like that, yet they will continue to be an underlying belief affecting you and your spiritual healing business. So if you want to learn more about theta healing, I actually have a free video on my website, WokeLightworker.com. If you click on the courses tab and then click on theta healing, where you can learn more. I think it's like 38 minutes long. And then you can also register for my theta healing classes. My next one starts April 29. And I teach the four courses that I feel are essential for healers to make the biggest impact in their lives. And on top of that, here's the good news, guys. If you love theta healing and you decide, wow, this is amazing, like the way it's changed my life or transformed my life, not only will you get a ton of healing for yourself and partner work and 10 days worth of classes spread out over 2 months taking place on the weekends, you'll also be certified as a theta healing practitioner. So voila, there is another type of healing you can offer to your clients, and a very powerful, life-changing one. So if you're interested in theta healing, I have 13 spots left for my April class. So scoot over to my website when we're done, if that's something you're interested in for yourself and or offering for your clients. So let me go to the next screen. Next topic. I'll say it again because I've learned that to be the best healer you can be and provide the most value you can to your clients and to make tremendous progress on a soul level for yourself in this lifetime, your number one priority should be on healing yourself. Healing yourself to remove the layers and layers of illusions that keep you from being fully connected to your spirit self. Okay? Now I want to turn to talking business and very briefly touch on 2 topics that you're going to want to put a little more thought into. The first one is marketing your business. That word marketing strikes fear in the hearts of most of my clients that I do higher self-hypnosis sessions with. So many of my clients want to have a healing business, but they don't like either being in front of the camera to put themselves out there on social media because of their fears and insecurities, or they feel inadequate doing so. And knowing that marketing is absolutely necessary, they never get going on starting a spiritual healing business. They have all this potential and all these talents and abilities, but they're too afraid to market themselves. So let's talk about some of the reasons why you may not want to get in front of a camera. You might think, oh, I'm not pretty enough. I'm not confident enough. I don't know enough. I feel like an imposter. I don't have anything anyone would want to listen to. I won't be able to get many followers. I don't look good in front of a camera. I don't know what to say. I don't want people judging me. I don't want negative comments on my page. That would just kill me to see someone talk negatively about me. But what is behind all of these things that I just mentioned? A lack of self-love and a lack of self-worth. You have forgotten that you are God. You are identifying with your ego, with your persona, whatever you want to call it, and not your authentic God self. Period. You are not living as your higher self, coming at life from that perspective. And since it's your journey, you're free to continue creating and recreating and reaffirming those limiting beliefs all you want. That's an experience. You get to have any experience you want. It's your journey. Or you can decide to see through the illusions and do the work to remember who you are. Again, the quickest way to do this is through dedicated belief work and self-healing. And I also have a course on my website I mentioned earlier called Connecting to Your Higher Self. That's over 6 hours of teaching on demand, where you can actually learn how to not only connect to your higher self, but learn how to live as your higher self. Some people fear, oh, I'm not going to get enough clients. But actually, What is fear again? Fear is an illusion. And what you think about, you bring about, right? Where attention goes, energy flows. You've heard all these. That belief is going to backfire on you. The belief that you're not going to, fear that you're not going to get enough clients. You want to heal yourself from that fear. You want to investigate, what are you learning by having this fear and how can I overcome it? Work with your team. Pull those beliefs. What's underneath that belief? Right? Is it ancestral because you have ancestors that tried different businesses and failed? Maybe part of the Great Depression, something like that. Could be on a generational level. But you have this intense fear. So if you don't, it's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, a manifestation created by your thoughts with the intent to place you face to face with your fear so that you can resolve it. You'll manifest it because you want to resolve it. So if you're living your purpose, there is provision for you. But your fear is what can block it from coming to you. And no one can create that but you. With your thoughts, with your beliefs, with your fears. So dig those up by the roots, throw them out and replace them with higher thoughts, higher beliefs that serve you for what you do want to create in your life. Social media, talking about marketing, social media is here to stay. It keeps changing the rules and evolving. So you'll need to learn or hire or find someone who can help you manage the technical side maybe of the social media. But it starts with you getting in front of the camera. Offering, that first law, the law of value, offering value, letting people experience your energy, feel your intentions, and decide if they like you, if they trust you, and if they want to do business with you. And they're not going to do that if you hide behind the camera. You have to be in front of the camera and in the public. That's just our marketing, the way it is these days. Okay, next. I am going to talk about legal aspects. I'm not a lawyer, obviously. So even though I have a tiny little section on here on legal aspects of a business, I'm only going to cover a little sliver of a topic and advise you to speak to an attorney for any and all legal questions about your business. But the one thing on this topic I want to share with you is this. Coming from having been a court reporter for 14 years, prior to doing this, we live in a litigious society, a society where people can drag others into court for a myriad of reasons, even when you may have served that client from a place of love and with the best of intentions. So remember that while you're meeting your clients from a space of heart, a heart space of love and high frequency intentions, they may be operating primarily from a place of their ego or their lower self. Okay? So my advice, and again, I'm not an attorney, but I am a business owner and I can speak from experience. You want to set your rules and your cancellation policy, your refund policy, all of your rules, set those in place before you do a session with a client. Put it in writing. Have the clients sign some sort of a waiver before you do a session with them. Common sense will tell you how much time, energy, money, and headaches that this can save you in the event that you should ever need that document to support any actions that you take or don't take with a client that they may or may not agree with. So this is something I talk about and I also share with my students in my mentoring program, and I give them a copy of the waiver that I use with my clients that I've honed over the years. And it leaves little to no room for confusion for my clients of the proverbial, oh, I didn't know, right? All I have to do is zip an email over to them. Oh, here, remember this? You signed, right? So, and it also protects you in regards to, it can offer protection in regards to billing clients when you accept credit cards and things like that. And someone comes back and says, I want a refund, or whatever it is. Maybe you have a non-refundable deposit. Like I have a non-refundable deposit to get on my calendar and they want their deposit back, but yet they've signed this waiver. So just make sure my advice is just make sure that you put all of that up front and in writing so there's no confusion. Okay? And again, I advise having it looked over by an attorney. All right, that's all I'm going to say about legal stuff, guys, because I'm not an attorney. And this leads me to my next topic, and that is to set and enforce boundaries for your business, just like you would for your personal life. And if you're not good at setting boundaries in your personal life, that is yet again something you will absolutely want to dig on and uproot to help you both personally and professionally. It's your business. So set your boundaries. But here are a few examples to get you thinking. And this one, first boundary, should be a given. Never take away hope and never talk about the client's death, impending death, or anyone else's death in this lifetime, like so-and-so is gonna die or you're gonna die, especially if you do more psychic things. Even if you can see it, never take away hope from someone. Don't talk about those. Number one, I completely agree that you should not talk about that. And the main reason, besides it can take away hope from someone, is there are so many timelines that exist in this multiverse that there is no guarantee that the timeline you are viewing at that particular moment is going to take place. Because it would depend on so many things happening before that time that your client would have had to have done to get to that point. But let's say your client walks out of your session and their mind has been freed and they feel so much lighter, they feel so much better, so they don't go to that bar and get drunk and drive home drunk or whatever it is, right? They take a completely different path on their life. So here, now they're walking around in fear and paranoid that they're going to be dying in a week or 2 weeks or 2 years, or someone else is going to be dying, but you only saw a tiny little timeline at that particular moment. So you can have this to be one of your boundaries or not. This is just something that I recommend. Another example, never give medical recommendations or tell clients to stop or start taking medications unless you are a doctor. You can offer them warnings of danger and give advice about alternatives, even if the danger... Wait, hold on. I read that wrong. Sorry, guys. Don't offer them warnings of danger and give them advice about alternatives. Okay, even if the danger you see could cause them to die. In my business, this is not really an issue for me because my clients are the ones channeling their higher selves and hearing any medical advice or recommendations. It comes out of their own mouths. But I still have my clients sign my waiver stating that they understand I am not a medical doctor. And I also have that warning on my website that I'm not a medical doctor. Okay, so don't give medical advice unless you're a doctor. Next one more example. Setting your starting and ending times and sticking to them is a boundary, and it may be difficult for some, especially if there's more healing work that needs to be done when the session time is up. You may feel obligated to go over the allotted time because you want to help them or prove to them how much you care or how much value you're giving them. And if any of these issues come up, again, here's another example of digging and uprooting work that you might want to engage in for yourself. I love this passage from the Bible. I come from a Christian background, and it says, "Owe no man anything but to love him." We don't owe anyone anything, unless, of course, here's the of course, unless, of course, you have oaths, vows, commitments, or obligations affecting you that you may not consciously be aware of. And newsflash, many healers come into this life having oaths, vows, commitments, and obligations from past lives that do impact them in this current life. Because we're in the business of helping others, it may be more difficult to enforce boundaries, but boundaries are for you, for your best and highest good. So when you set boundaries, any boundaries, decide if it's really a hard and fast boundary for you. And if it is, then be ready to enforce it with love and kindness. Okay? Next topic, I want to talk about avoiding burnout. This is the last topic I want to touch on, burnout. So just like any business or career, trust me, you can get burned out having your own business. It can be all consuming and involve a lot of imbalance between your personal life and your work life. Non-sleeping hours, my life, and my kids will absolutely vouch for this. My life is probably 80% work and 20% non-work. I have no work-life balance. And for the most part, that is what brings me joy to my core. However, when I feel like my work is consuming me too much of even my energy, I've become better and better with experience on stepping back a little bit. Again, all things I teach in much more detail in my mentoring program, or my soul or my spirit team has been so gracious to cause me to get ill when I'm overdoing it. Like this class was supposed to have been taught 2 weeks ago. And I ended up getting the flu so bad and having to cancel my theta healing classes because I was so dizzy I couldn't even see. And my spirit team was very clear to me that that was definitely a created scenario by myself. So, I'm still working on balance. But know this, the more psychic you become, the more off balance you can become if you don't stay connected to Creator. You want your body and your psychic abilities to be balanced, and you can learn how to be more balanced when you work with Creator or when you live as your higher self. You don't want to be a psychic mess, quote unquote, walking around, picking up everything from everything and everyone around you. You don't want to take on other people's energies and let their energy overwhelm your body. That will not end well. It does not serve you. It does not serve the other person. And then also remember, don't take people's judgments and criticisms personally. It's not personal. If you do get triggered, remember what I said earlier? That is a you issue, something in you that needs to be healed. We are coming at the other person or the other person or that topic from love. If you're getting triggered, you're coming at it from your ego, not as your higher self, not from love. So another thing I like to say is ask yourself, how would love see this situation? Remember those bands everybody used to wear, WWJD, what would Jesus do? It's what would love do? How would love see this situation? How would love act or react in this situation? It's not going to be in anger. It's not going to be in frustration. Okay. So learn how to see the world and others through the eyes of Creator of all that is, or through the eyes of love. And I'd like to leave you guys with some affirmations to use when running your spiritual business. If you want to write these down, feel free, or take a screenshot, picture of the screen. I like these affirmations. I have a ton of affirmations. I have cards on my computer right here in front of me. 1, I am in charge of the pace and rhythm of my life. I am in charge. And that's one reason people love to have their own business, right? Another one, spirit. This is mine. I came up with this one. Spirit is in charge of this business. I just show up. It's not my business. It's Spirit's business. I just show up. I don't need to fear. I don't need to worry. Oh, where are the clients going to come from? And should I do this? And oh, I'm scared to do this, right? Spirit is in charge of this business. The universe supports me. I reflect God's love in everything I do. I am not here to be this is a really good one for healers, guys. I am not here to be the face of authority or provide the solution. I am here to be the face of love. And I said lastly, but I do have one more thing to share with you guys quickly. It's talking about technology. Technology. From a recent higher self hypnosis session, I'm going to tell you what my client's higher self said, how you can use it for your business. Okay. We're not getting into systems. We're not getting into the nitty gritty of that. There's no way all that could be taught in this class. right? Again, that's part of my mentoring program. But this is what this person's higher self said. Bless your technology before you use it. Pray for it for the good of all higher self beings, the beings you will be connected to on that day. Blessing your technology will benefit your internet connection and help your devices to run smoothly. So I'm going to add a little bit to that. My spirit team has told me to clear all of my technology after I finish with a client. After I finish with this class, I'm going to clear it. And today, I just took my hand in the air and just went like this. And I just imagined whisking it all, washing it all away from the session that I had. All of the energy from that session, clearing my equipment. I cleared my phone, just sent light to it, washed it all away. And then I blessed it. I prayed over it, asked for it to be used to bring blessing and love and light to everyone who participates with it. That would include all of you guys because I prayed over it before this class. So here's a summary of just a few things that I mentioned in case you want to investigate any of them further. First, I mentioned my 6+ hour course called Connecting to Your Higher Self so you can learn how to live as your higher self. That's available on demand on my website. Next, I talked about theta healing and how my next set of courses will be starting April 29, and then I have some more in September. And lastly, I talked about my higher self hypnosis mentoring program, and all three of these things, and I have some more classes and learning on my website. They can all be found on my website again, WokeLightworker.com. So be sure to head over there after we finish up. And I want to say, I'm going to stay for question and answer if you guys want to go a little bit over. Here's the hour and a half, but if you want to stay and if anyone has any, I want to thank you. And lastly, if you received value from this course and you want to show your support after I spend, as I spend hours of my time researching, writing, preparing, and presenting content like this to help everyone with their journey and my free TikToks and YouTube videos, I'm just going to offer you all the opportunity to make a donation to my work because while I have given you the opportunity to receive of my time and energy, I don't want to deny anyone the opportunity to also give if you feel that you receive something of value. So as you notice, my operations manager, Chris, if he hasn't already, he's going to put a link in the chat box now. And I would so appreciate it if you could all just take 1 minute of your time also to fill out a survey, letting us know what you thought of this class. And I especially want to know, there it is, it's right there in the link, the survey form. I want to know what kind of topics you guys want to hear about. Like, this is so I can provide more value to you all. So I truly, truly, truly value your feedback, and I use it to improve myself, bring you valuable content, and it will literally just take not even more than a minute. And we're going to send out the replay to everyone who registered for this class. If you want to hear any of it again, take any screenshots or notes. But the feedback form will also be included in that. And if you have to leave, again, thank you to everyone who showed up here. Thank you if you decide to leave a donation. If you don't, it's not expected, it's appreciated. But I want you to know how much I appreciate being on the planet with all of you at this time, raising the vibration of the planet together. I feel blessed to be able to share this planet with you. And I saw a question coming in from Husky Kimberly. Just give me just one moment. And I want to say Marianne Williamson, one of my favorite authors, said this: the love in me salutes the love in you. So I want to open it up now for questions and answers. And if you have one, just raise your hand. My operations manager, Chris, who's also on this call, he's going to let me know who has a question. And then you can feel free to unmute yourself if you want to talk in person. So let me hit the unmute all button. To send the donation, I'm sorry, you just go to my website, WokeLightworker.com/home. It's on the home page. There's a button that says make a donation, I think it is. And if you go there at this time, I only have the ability to make donations with a credit card. So if you guys have Cash App or Venmo or PayPal or anything like that, you can absolutely PayPal if you want to send it to my email, soulessencehypnosis@gmail.com. And I will, Chris, if you could type that in maybe I can type it in the chat box. PayPal is soulessencehypnosis@gmail.com. That is my PayPal address. I don't have Cash App or Venmo set up for this yet, but I do have credit card and I do have PayPal if you guys want to make a donation. Again, not expected, but very much appreciated. I appreciate you guys. I actually stayed up until 4:30 this morning finishing up writing this class, so I've been so tired today. It took me about 10 hours, 11 hours probably to put all of this information together, and I didn't think it was going to take quite that long. And so to make it last an hour and a half, I put a lot of content in there. So I'm pretty tired today. I'm going to go to sleep as soon as we're done here. But I just hit the unmute all button. If anyone has any questions, raise your hand. And I know that Husky Kimberly had one. Let me see if I can see. Is there anything you can compare theta healing to, like Reiki? Zoe said. No. Actually, theta healing is nothing like Reiki. It's nothing like anything else, honestly. Because my higher self hypnosis sessions use theta healing inside of them, my sessions are very similar to theta healing in a lot of respects, not totally, but in a lot of respects. But I don't know, honestly, of anything else that's even remotely like theta healing, where you really do all that digging work and you can work with partners in class to kind of train you how to work with a client, to really dig into something. Like you might come to class and it'll be like, what do you want to work on? Oh, I was so, I don't know, let me think of an example. I'm so angry at my mom right now because, let me use an example for my client today. I'm so angry with my mom because my brother, she always favors my brother. My brother gets anything he wants and I always get the leftovers and I feel rejected and abandoned because of that. And it makes me so angry that she did yet again, gave him more favors than me. That was my client today. So it would be like, okay, let's dig into that and let's find out the real root cause of it. And it's never what you think it is. So it's really, really, really looking into every issue and healing it by the root so that you can pull it once and for all and you don't constantly have to deal with it. My client today has been dealing with this issue with her brother since she was 7 years old. This issue of mom, because they were separated in different countries for a while. But as soon as he moved to the US to be with her and her mom, since the age of 7, she has been dealing with that same thing. He used to beat the crap out of her, right? So yeah, that kind of stuff, you just got to get to the root of it and what's really going on there. Okay. So Husky Kimberly, did you have a question? What was your question? Can you unmute yourself or no? Can you unmute?
Not
there.
A question, more like my son wants to say thank you because we've been doing affirmations in the morning and calling forth abundance and good energy. This boy has been like, Mom, tell her we got all the good stuff. We've been getting good energy and it's been working. And I'm laughing right now because like, Mom, I found the dollar on the floor. I'm like,
oh, nice. I love it. How old are you? How old are you?
How old are you? I'm 14.
14. That is awesome. That's awesome. My kids were 14 when they started working more with affirmations and stuff too. And yeah, stick with this. This is the good stuff. This will help you have a much more peaceful life, living in a higher frequency, keeping your energy high. So way to go. I love it. Affirmations and talking to yourself positively, that's how we reprogram our mind. So there's a lot of negative stuff in our minds that's kind of left over from growing up or kids at school or even stuff you might have in your mind from a past life. And talking to yourself positively and reminding yourself who you are and how powerful you are and that you are a God, that you are your authentic God self and positive affirmations, that's going to change your life. You get to create it any way you want then. I love
See,
it.
I told you. I told
Awesome. Thank you for
I still need to
sharing.
work on my I still need to work on my journal. I've been bad, but I've been working like slowly and surely. I'm starting to work myself up to writing on my journal.
Nice, nice. And in case anybody's wondering, she's talking about this journal. It's called the Conscious
Yeah,
Creators Daily Journal, right?
right,
This is a
right,
journal, create the life you want to live.
okay, stop.
Create the life you want to live in just 15 minutes a day. It's a journal that I have for sale out on Amazon that my higher self channeled to me. It's a good one. It's good. I can say that because it wasn't me that wrote it. It was my higher self that did it. I just got to publish it and put it together, but I love it. It helps you truly be a conscious creator for your life, just taking 15 minutes a day. So Michelle said to everyone, fear is false evidence appearing real. 100%. Like we talked about, fear is just an illusion. Anybody else have anything? I'll stay for another minute if you guys want. Anybody else? Anybody else? Let me look and see. You did a beautiful job, said Michelle. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Shiva, I'd love to have my session. I'm saving money to do that. Awesome. I really enjoyed the class and learned a lot. I really enjoyed the class, learned a lot. Is your higher self hypnosis derived from Dolores Cannon hypnosis? Would I need hypnosis training prior to the mentoring? So it is based on that, but there's way more to it than what QHHT teaches you. So no, you would not need QHHT. You will learn everything from soup to nuts in my training, including the business side, and how to be your higher self and channel your higher self while you do hypnosis. So it's taking it next level. So when I'm putting these questions together and when I'm doing a session with a client, it's not me talking. Like, it's truly not. Like, we're going to do a lot of healing work. We're going to do a lot of mindset work in the mentoring program. But it's not me talking when I do these sessions. This is purely my higher self. I don't even know where the next words are coming from. We're going to be learning a lot about incorporating theta healing into it, something called emotional alchemy. So what do you do if you do have someone who really is blocking themselves from being able to let go and channel their higher self? What do you do then? And you've tried everything and you've pulled out all the stops. So that's some of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about and teaching you how to do. It's with something, I don't know, I call it emotional alchemy. It's kind of a back door to get around. That's kind of my secret sauce though, but that's my back door to get around where they really are getting the healing from their higher self, but they just don't know it because they're not like channeling their higher self per se, or they don't think they are channeling their higher self. But your higher self is you. It's who you really are. It's your authentic self. So if you want to learn more about that, definitely take my higher self class because I go into a lot of detail and give you guys a lot of exercises, right, Husky Kimberly? A lot of exercises in class on how to connect to and be your higher self. Like, what can you do to really bring that practically into your life? So theta healing, the first 3 levels are prerequisites for the mentoring program because we use theta healing so much inside my hypnosis sessions. Any advice for creating a website if you're not a developer? Gosh, yeah, that's a great question. So my first website, I made it myself. It took me hours. I'm not a computer dummy, but I'm not a computer programmer or anything either. But I just created something on GoDaddy. I just went to GoDaddy. That's where I got my domain name. And then I created my website out there. And they have so many things that you can just click and drag into. So you'll set like each page, you'll have like you can choose different templates. So maybe you want the picture at the top or the logo on the right or the logo on the left or whatever it is. You want text here or text here. And you get to kind of drag these different boxes and places to insert photos. And then they have a lot of clip art or pictures that you can bring in and put on your website. I don't even know how many hours I spent on it, but it was probably at least, 20, 30 hours I did because I'm such a perfectionist on putting mine together and had multiple pages. And I kept going over it and redoing it and rereading it and changing the text and moving things around. So it was probably a good 20 hours maybe, but I did it. I created my own. And my beautiful website that I have out there now, WokeLightworker.com, yeah, that wasn't me. That was all Chris. That was my operations manager, Chris. He did that. That beautiful purple and all that great stuff. He totally, right? He totally revamped my entire website and he did an amazing job. I am so happy with it. I love it so much. But getting started and doing your own, I used that one for a number of years and it was just fine. And I learned how to bring the calendaring system that I use and copy the whatever the code or the link or whatever it was and bring that into the website. And you know, it was a lot of trial and error and I might have to watch some YouTube videos every now and then. But actually, guys, you can create a lot of this stuff pretty inexpensively by finding someone to do it for you. I don't know if you've ever heard of Upwork.com or Fiverr. I don't use Fiverr, I use Upwork, but that's actually how I met Chris. I met him through the website called Upwork.com. He's over in the Philippines. And him and his wife and my bookkeeper, virtual assistant, they're all over in the Philippines. My web developer over in the Philippines. So I found them all on Upwork.com. So it's another good place you can go. You can put out an ad posting and say, you know, hey, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone to build me a website. You get to set the pricing that you want to pay, and people will give you bids, and you can accept anyone or not accept anyone. Look at some of the work they've done, ask them to give you examples. They'll have examples on their Upwork page. But if you don't want to put in all that time and you have a little bit of extra money lying around, it's not a lot. If you have a little bit of extra money lying around, you can go to Upwork.com. Chris might have some capacity. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for him, but he might have some capacity to work for some of you guys if you wanted something like that done. I don't know. But if you're interested in anything like that, email me at tracy@WokeLightworker.com. And then I can connect the two of you and you can see what a beautiful job he did looking at my website. But if you're interested, and getting a quote from him or anything like that, go ahead and send me an email, like I said, at tracy@WokeLightworker.com, and I can hook you guys up with him. Just don't steal him from me. I need him for my business. Anybody else? Anybody have any other questions? You can feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand if you want. Who said this in the chat box? Shiva, thank you, Tracy. Your effort is helping a lot of people. I think it is beyond business. Yes, I did. I took this class beyond business. It's not just like, how do you set this up? How do you run this? How do you do that? It's really looking at the mindset too behind it and what's really going to make you successful. Because you can set up the website, that's fine. But if you don't have the mindset behind it and you have all these beliefs and fears or traumas, it doesn't matter how gorgeous your website is. It just doesn't matter because you're going to be, your energy is going to be the thing that's going to determine your business and how successful you're going to be. So anyway, anybody have any other questions? Otherwise, we're going to end it here. I want to thank everyone. If you guys could just take that minute, fill out that survey, that feedback form, I mean. Chris put the link in the chat box. If you could go to that feedback form, that would be amazing. I love to hear it. It's back in the chat box again. Give me feedback on what you guys want to hear. I love it. Or email me at any time, tracy@wokelightworker.com. Michelle, you sleep well too. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. Take care, everyone.
Good night. Get some rest.